Hello everyone and welcome back to the Football Forecast. In today's video I am going to be previewing Liverpool Atletico Madrid, and as a Liverpool fan I am excited for this game because I feel like this is our first real taste of European competition in so long. The last time we played was obviously the PSG disappointment, and I can't wait to finally be able to watch Liverpool back at Anfield under the lights, and this is sort of a European game in the reckoning. This is going to be a really interesting game between two brilliant managers in Arne Slots and Diego Simeone, but with completely different approaches, and you best believe it, there will be 100% a review on this video coming out tomorrow. So if you want to see that video, please head over, please subscribe and like the YouTube channel. And if you're interested, if you think there'd be like friends maybe that would be interested in the videos, please share it to them, let them know about my channel so I can keep growing it into the future. So how have Liverpool fared against Atletico Madrid recently? Well, there's been some games that I think if you're a Liverpool fan or Atletico Madrid fan, you would certainly remember. Just picking out a couple, that 3-2 win for Liverpool. This was when Naby Keita scored a really beautiful outside the foot goal and looked like one of the best players on the pitch for 20 minutes. It sort of looked like a player that why Liverpool actually bought Naby Keita, and then he sort of was at fault for the next two Antoine Griezmann goals and had a pretty poor performance after that, and everyone sort of went back to reality. That's what I remember from that game. And Antoine Griezmann also got sent off, and then there was, I think, a foul in the box in like the last couple of minutes. Someone just pushed someone when I can't remember who was going for the header, and Liverpool won that game 3-2. Then the other games that I think are very memorable: Atletico Madrid, Liverpool at Atletico Madrid again. They managed to win 1-0, and the 2-3 Liverpool Atletico Madrid, which knocked Liverpool out of the competition. And if I remember this correctly, Liverpool, it was just really a game of two keepers. Liverpool dominated most of the game, but Jan Oblak was superb in goal for Atletico Madrid, and Liverpool have to go up against him once again. But Liverpool didn't have Alisson Becker, they had Adrian, and Adrian had a really poor game, and it really put his reputation down as a player, and really changed the people's, I think, opinion on Adrian, because I think after that people sort of saw him as a decent backup keeper. So how is each side going to approach this game? Well, I think we know from Liverpool's perspective, it will be full, fast out, throttle attacking. They'll try to get the crowd on side. It's going to be a real good atmosphere you'd expect at Anfield. These are the sort of games that Anfield loves, and the atmosphere is going to be top quality. That's what I'm expecting, and I think we'll almost guaranteed to get that. Liverpool will start fast. That's all we think we say, and it will be a high press. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Atletico Madrid start up, but this is sort of a predicted lineup for Liverpool. So in goal, Alisson, I think Frimpong. This is just foot mob, so I may disagree with some of it. I could see Szoboszlai at right back, and then they've gone Konate, Van Dijk, and Kirkes. I'd be happy with that back four. I think maybe Frimpong could be useful in this game. We might be looking to attack a lot of the game, very similar to sort of Burnley, Arsenal. So we've had a bit of practice against potentially a low block, and we've struggled at points. So maybe we do need something different from each position. Then Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai, and then Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz, Gakpo, and then Ekitike. I think that's pretty much what we'll see. If Maka is fit though, at left centre mid, you have to pick McAllister. People are starting to really underrate McAllister again. We're going through this process of, McAllister, he's struggling. I think people don't understand how vital McAllister is for Liverpool when he is fit. I wouldn't mind though if Liverpool made a couple of changes with Everton in mind on the weekend in 3 days. So I wouldn't mind if Liverpool went with a slightly weaker lineup, because as much as this game does matter, the league games for me are the major priority this season, because we saw last year, it doesn't really matter if you finish first or you finish 8th in the Champions League. You just need to finish in that top 8 to avoid extra fixtures. But apart from that, it doesn't matter, because we drew the champions PSG. So does it really matter? Probably not. So I wouldn't care too much if we decide to rest a couple of players here and there. So yeah, what changes would I make to this lineup? I think if McAllister is fit, you got to play him, but he looks doubtful. I'd be tempted to bring Andy Robertson in for Kirkes. I don't think Robertson did anything wrong in the last game, and I don't think Atletico Madrid sort of have enough real pace to threaten Liverpool, and I wouldn't mind bringing in Andy Robertson for this game, because I think Kirkes has to start against Everton up against Njai. That concerns me. I don't know if Robertson has the pace to deal with Njai. And then maybe you start Bradley, because I thought Bradley was actually very good at right back for Liverpool on the weekend, so I wouldn't mind that. But once again, with Conor Bradley, there's always injury concerns. And then apart from this, other players, I don't really think there's any other real options you could go. Obviously, Isak isn't match fit, so I think Liverpool are pretty much just going to go with that. Curtis Jones is just coming back from injury, so this will probably be Liverpool's lineup. So then this is FootMob's predicted Atletico Madrid lineup, and I mean, I don't think this is as scary Atletico Madrid lineups as we may have seen in the past. I mean, usually when Atletico Madrid come to Liverpool, I'm pretty worried, I think. Okay, this is going to be very difficult. They're going to have a lot of quality. They're going to be able to get through us. But I'm not actually too concerned about this lineup maybe as much as in the past. And I think this is because there is significant weak points in this lineup. Straight away, look, Salah and Griezmann, they're good players, but they're not Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez was one of Liverpool's top targets in the summer, and there is an absolute reason. And he would have been crucial for Atletico Madrid in this side. And then obviously Gallagher, Barrios, Koke and Simeone. I could see him playing Nico Gonzalez maybe on the right, who was at Juve last year. But all straight away, Gallagher, Barrios and Koke, they're all hard-working midfielders. That's what Simeone will want from this game. He needs hard work, intensity, and he needs to be able his team to sort of sustain sort of a low block slash. But when they want to, they can get out. And that's what this Atletico Madrid lineup is all about. Because Simeone does press at points. I know people have this perception that it's a very defensive manager, but I think recently that has changed. And Barrios is a top quality midfielder. If anybody doesn't really know much about him, Barrios is very good. Obviously, I think lots of people know about Conor Gallagher for his time in the Prem. Very good player, Conor Gallagher, and Griezmann still has that class. Salah, I mean, I know Salah is considered a very good player. Like, I'm fully aware of this. I know he's considered a good player and he's a good level for Atletico Madrid. But whenever I watch Salah, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just watching him on bad days. He doesn't quite seem to be at the level which apparently he's at. So let me know if you know how much you know about Salah and sort of give me an overview. Am I just wrong about this and Salah is actually a very good player? Or does he actually go missing in these sort of games, or maybe these bigger games, maybe when I've watched Atletico Madrid a bit more, because I don't often watch them as much as Liverpool, for example, because I literally support them. And then Rugari at right back, he doesn't strike fear into me, and this is the main weakness. Clément Lenglet, I know he's been doing decent for Atletico Madrid, but I still think this has to be a weak point that Liverpool target. We know that Hugo Ekitike will most likely start and they'll have Isak on the bench. I mean, if I'm Clément Lenglet, I'm worried. And this is because Jimenez is injured, but then right centre half, Lenormand is like top quality. I know that for sure. Lenormand starts with Spain over Kubarasi. Over Kubasi, and he's top quality Lenormand. He's a very good player. And then at right back, they've got Marcos Llorente. Once again, very solid, very Simeone, hard working. And that is what you get from this whole side. And if Julian Alvarez was playing, they'd have that in abundance. Hard work and intensity. That is all Atletico Madrid are. And I respect Simeone. He sticks to his philosophies, and he's a very good manager at sort of doing what he does. Very different to Slot, but they're both great managers. There's no denying that. And then in goal, Jan Oblak, another very good keeper. That's another, honestly, world-class keeper that's up there with the likes of Alisson. And Atletico Madrid in general are just a really good team. I could see them shifting more to a 5-back, but I'm still not convinced this is like a sort of team that can go to Liverpool and win. And I think Simeone might start with just sort of looking for a point. But on that 5-back point, the reason why I can't see him quite go into the 5-back is because in the past, he hasn't done that recently. Even when he went away to Real Madrid last year, he stuck with this 4-4-2 shape. This is sort of the shape he's been adopting in these big games as well. He hasn't really changed from this. So I expect this is what we'll get. I also think people have a perception of Atletico Madrid that they're a very defensive-minded side. But these days, they are actually a bit more of an attacking outfit. I think people don't really realise this. They're less defensive these days. Now, when they are away in Champions League ties, they do have they do sometimes go into a more defensive shape. But in general, when they're in their La Liga games, they often have more of the ball than you'd expect and often have more shots. Look, sometimes they do show with creativity, but they often do dominate more of the game. So I think that is something slightly different to note about Atletico Madrid these days. So how have both of these sides started the season so far? Well, from Liverpool, they haven't started that well, but they've continuously picked up results. And Liverpool have not dropped any points so far in the Premier League. And I get it. People are saying, oh, Liverpool are incredibly lucky. And I agree to a certain extent. I think if you look at the Burnley game, Liverpool were really lucky to get that penalty right at them. But Liverpool did push and push. And look, they didn't show enough creativity. And they're going to have to show a lot more against a better side that could very much set up in a very similar similar way. So I look at that result and I go, poor performance, and Liverpool got away with it. But I think if you look at the other three, at some point you've got to start considering the fact that it's mentality. And into it, Burnley is a little bit to an extent. It's not luck when you have 4 goals in the last 10 minutes that are winners, plus the extra one that Liverpool got against Bournemouth on the first game. That isn't just luck. That can't be just coincidence that Liverpool are getting really lucky at the start of the season. It's a real skill and it's mentality, but it's also very good changes by Slot. Into the first 2 games, they were both scored by subs, and in the 4th game, I know it doesn't really matter, it was a Frimpong Cross who was also a sub. But basically, he knows when to bring on subs, and he's also given trust to players like Rio, and that's what I really want to see. If we need to break down a low block, someone like Rio could be really important in this game. He goes really under the radar, but Rio is an exceptionally good player at breaking down low blocks. I know, and he's been picked over Chiesa because of the registration rules, so he's going to have to use him at some point, Rio, and I think he'll definitely use him. Looking at Atletico Madrid have struggled so far. As I said earlier, they're sort of a different side these days. They tend to dominate the ball a bit more, but they have struggled to once again break down sides, and that was against Deportivo Alves and Elche. They also lost to Espanyol trying to break down a side, but they won against Villarreal trying to break down a side, and that's because Atletico Madrid aren't really built as a side too much to break down teams. They're more built for counter-attacking football, so I think this will maybe suit Atletico Madrid slightly better, but maybe Liverpool go with something slightly different and it'll actually allow them to have the ball. I don't think they'll do this though, however, because I think that will sort of, you can't do that at home at Anfield. That's not really a Liverpool thing to do. But look, Slot has done weird things in the past. He played a completely different formation away at Manchester City, even though that looked like a pretty simple win going into it because Manchester City were on such bad form, but he changed it completely up. So maybe we will see something different. Maybe Slot will experiment a bit more in this game. But let's find out in the game, and I know what you're wondering. So what is my prediction for this game? I'm going with another 1-0 win for Liverpool. I'm hoping the goal isn't this late, but I think Liverpool will spend a lot of the game trying to break down Atletico Madrid, and it will eventually happen, and then Atletico Madrid might try and break through, try and get that goal, but by then I think either the game will be too late because we've scored quite late again, or I just think Atletico Madrid might be out of legs without the likes of Julian Alvarez to try and get them up the pitch. If Julian Alvarez was involved, I'd be more confident Atletico Madrid could get a point from this game. But anyway, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. As I said, it really does help the channel. I'm really trying to grow it, and it would mean the absolute world if you could subscribe.